Today, we are going to talk about bionic technology and how it can expand people's possibilities, let us live a fuller life. And I'm going to start by introducing to you a couple of people that all are very active. They all live a very full life. Amar here, Amanda, they're all very healthy, different ages, but all young in spirit. And this is Jason. He and Sarah here are both from California. But there is something else that does characterize them. Something that they all have in common. And that is that they are all in a wheelchair. As a result of a spinal cord injury. And as such, in the recovery, they all sometimes heard the word no when they asked, will I be able to walk again? They all heard this word, no. You will not. Depriving them pretty much of one of our most basic needs. We all, ladies and gentlemen, learn to walk before we learn to talk. That's how basic it is to the mankind. And here, in a moment, it's just taken away. And in spite of amazing advances in innovation and technology, biotechnology, we have not been able to give them this ability again. I want to introduce you to somebody else, Tamara. Tamara, and there should be actually go back please. Tamara is from Mexico. And she is actually here with us. Hi, Tamara.
Good evening. Buenas noches.
So, Tamara, I know for a fact that you live a very full life. You live now in California, and the way I know you, you do not let anything stop you. So how was it when, in your experience, when you started looking for options after your injury in terms of how to walk again?
It was very difficult. I, of course, wanted to walk again. I think it would almost be strange to not want to walk if after 19 years walking freely and independently. So of course I wanted to walk. I looked for some options, but they just didn't seem like they would work for me. Some of them were too obtrusive. Some of them just took too much time and energy. I guess I just kind of gave up on my hope that I would ever walk again. I really didn't think anything would happen, and I decided to move forward and focus on other things that I could accomplish.
Well, that is in a way what we want to enable people to do, accomplish their dreams. And we believe there is no reason why we shouldn't be able to give someone like Tamara the ability to walk again. So, with that said, let me introduce you to a robot, or like what we like to call it, a wearable robot. It is an exoskeleton, call it Exo, and it's a highly intelligent. Let me see if I can flick over to the next slide here. Yeah, perfect. It's a highly intelligent machine. It's pretty much a convergence of many different technologies. Tamara is going to now take the time to get in it, and it will probably take her about 2-3 minutes to do that. And as he's doing that, let me explain to you a little bit what Exo is about. First of all, it is really similar to how we certainly had the car after a buggy and a horse. When we added simply the motors to it, a whole industry got born called the car industry. The same is with bikes. They turned into motorbikes. What we are simply doing here, and we have done, is we have put on very simple orthotic braces motors, sensors, and other things to power it up. So it's basically a new category of technologies that you will probably see more and more. What you have here in particular in front of you is an Exo that has 4 motors. Why 4 motors? Because it's for the hips, there are 2, and there are 2 for the knees. And there are 15 sensors in it. I often compare this with that the frame is almost like your bone structure. The sensors are almost like your nerves. And the motors, they power you forward with computer that is sitting at the back and batteries that are on both sides. And they last about 4 hours altogether, which is sufficient. And the way this works, in this case, we are obviously here with a person that is paralyzed below the waist. So how do we go about giving Tamara the control of a robot if she's paralyzed? We are going to do it in 2 steps, and you're going to see the first step here on stage. It's a remote control that simply initiates her steps here. And then, as she will progress in her recovery, we will actually have available middle of next year, and that's embedded in crutches that she will use. There will be 4 sensors in them that will detect her motion. So when she moves her hand forward, it will simply initiate the opposite leg to move. So she will be fully in control of it. So this one is intended for rehabilitation centers, so it's adjustable in height and width. And we are planning to introduce it actually as such early next year into rehab centers and then later on into homes. So with that said, I think everybody are excited to see you stand up, and why don't you just give it a go? How does that feel like?
It feels amazing. It's so hard to describe. When reminds me, when I stand in Exo like I just did now, it reminds me when I was a little girl and my cousins or uncles used to put me up on their shoulders, and all of a sudden my perspective completely changed. Can you all remember a time when you were young and someone carried you up on their shoulders, and how cool it felt to all of a sudden be up from a taller view? Do you remember that feeling? That's exactly how I feel. I feel tall. I know I'm short, but I feel tall. I feel tall, empowered, proud. I'm able to have conversations eye to eye like I am now, standing looking at you. And I'm able to also embrace my loved ones. It's just amazing.
Great. So, are you going to walk a little bit?
Yes.
Let's go for it. So, let me ask you a couple of more questions. So, as we know, I mean, this is intended for rehabilitation first. So, obviously, there is someone walking behind you, and that's how it's intended in the beginning. But how do you foresee using exoskeleton or bionic technology in your home?
For me, I would love to be able to have it in my own home, wake up, strap, leave my house walking, getting to my car, get out of my car and walk, and then come back into my house walking. Obviously, there'd be many interactions during the day that I'd be able to have standing, not having to always look up. And I would love to dance. If we can have a dance mode, I'd love to dance standing up.
Well, we have to work on that.
Well, that's my dream.
But what does this all mean to you?
Because this is so important to me, I hope everyone appreciates, I want to share this in Spanish. Este día, esta noche es súper especial porque no solo es la primera vez que Exo está aquí, pero es la primera vez que yo camino en México. Gracias. Yo nací en México, me lesioné en México y vuelvo a caminar una vez más. Es súper especial. También lo que he aprendido, para mí el caminar con Exo es más que dar unos cuantos pasos. He aprendido que uno debe de mantenerse realmente abierto a las posibilidades infinitas que la vida nos ofrece. Porque lo que algún día vemos como imposible o inalcanzable, de pronto se puede volver nuestra realidad. Y hoy esta es mi realidad. El sueño de caminar ya no está arrumbado o muerto, está vivo. Se trata de hacer lo imposible posible.
Thank you. Talking about possibilities, I kind of want to give you at the end here a little bit glance into the future of bionic technology. Because you ask yourself, yes, here we have a fantastic technology, but how do we go about taking the next step? How do we go about going and taking this and developing it for Tamara and others to take with them home and use, just like if you would lose a leg, you would never leave a prosthetic leg behind. You would take it with you, obviously, and you would use it during the day. We have still far to go, and to help us to do that, we have sought collaboration, and we have talked to a lot of customers, and we are going to be talking to much more, simply to gain more insight into what we need to do to make something like this very intelligent, complicated technology available for people in daily living. So we have collaborated with people in different parts of the United States. Rehabilitation centers, all the leading ones, have come on board with us, excited about the possibilities here. So, as such, we have about 100 individuals that have been working in Exo so far. We have taken probably more than 150,000 steps during this time. So that's just one. We have also gone out and we have talked to a lot of people, experts, users, and so on. And that has helped us to gain a lot of good insight into what people are thinking and how something like this would come into their environment. And what we are figuring out, for instance, is that when you go into people's homes, it's not so much about walking. It's more about moving around. It's about shuffling around. So we need to be able to accommodate to that. Also, it's very important to reach high, but at the same time, it's very important to be able to reach low. Because people like Tamara, they have pretty much built their house so that you can reach things low. And all of us, obviously, as well. So you want to have a robot that can go in both directions fluently. Finally, it is about staying healthy. There's a lot of complications that come with being in a wheelchair all day long. There are all kind of, there's the bed sores, or there are bladder issues, there are all kind of things that you just, because you aren't standing up and you aren't moving around, and you create issues over time that we believe we can counter with this piece of technology. With that said, we believe in a couple of steps we'll be able to accomplish this. It's not going to happen overnight. The wheelchair has been around for 1,500 years. But our intention is really to help people like Tamara living their life in the fullest way possible. Because you see that someone like Tamara here, very driven, she can basically do anything. And now, with the help of robotic technology, we believe we can give her an additional tool to help her to walk. Many people talk about that the robots are the evil workforce. We say, on the other hand, if you can't beat them, join them. Use them. And that's our intention, and to help people like Tamara and able bodies as well to increase their capabilities and compensate for lack of abilities as well. Thank you very much. Okay, let's walk. Thank you.
Tamara, muchas gracias.
Muchísimas gracias a usted.
¿Nos quieres compartir lo que te pasó?
¿Cómo me accidenté?
¿Se puede?
Sí, por supuesto.
Te agradecemos.
Bueno, hace 6 años estuve en un accidente automovilístico. Iba rumbo a Rosarito, yo vivía en San Diego. Nos fuimos en taxi porque no queríamos tomar y manejar. Y en el camino nunca llegamos. En el camino chocamos con un caballo. El caballo cayó encima del carro y aplastó el techo. De milagro yo sobreviví. El taxista falleció y mi novio, que se encontraba al lado, también falleció. Por eso es que yo siempre me he sentido muy agradecida con todo lo que tengo y ahora aún más de volver a caminar.
Gracias por compartirnos tu vida.
Gracias. Gracias.